Good evening and welcome to Kini News. For those of you under CMCO, listen up. The government has announced the extension of the Conditional Movement Control Order or CMCO in several areas today.
Senior Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob has announced the extension of the Conditional Movement Control Order in Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, Sabah and several localities in other states until January 14th. He said the decision was made based on advice from the Health Ministry after an increase in positive COVID-19 cases in these areas and the emergence of new clusters in Kuala Lumpur in the past 2 weeks.
Hari ini, KKM memaklumkan situasi semasa pergerakan kes di Kuala Lumpur bagi tempoh 14 hari dari 14 Disember hingga 27 Disember secara kumulatif sehingga 27 Disember sebanyak 12,494 kes positif COVID-19 telah direkodkan di wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur. KKM turut mengesahkan masih terdapat peningkatan kes yang ketara di wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur dan wujud beberapa kluster baru yang melibatkan wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur ini. Oleh itu, mesyuarat bersetuju agar PKP bersyarat di seluruh wilayah Persekutuan Kuala Lumpur dilanjutkan sehingga 14 Januari 2021.
The CMCO in these 3 states and several localities in other states had been scheduled to end on December 31st. Ismail said, for other states, the CMCO was also extended for Southwest Mukim 12 and Northeast Mukim 13 in Penang, Seremban in Negeri Sembilan, and Johor Bahru and Batu Pahat in Johor.
The exchange of barbs between Transport Minister Siang and former Penang Chief Minister Guan over the Penang ferry services didn't even get a Christmas break. In fact, it continued right over the weekend.
Transport Minister Siang has claimed that the Pakatan Harapan government had agreed to the idea of replacing the iconic Penang ferry services with catamaran vessels. In a post on his Facebook page yesterday, claimed that former Penang Chief Minister Guan's sister, Senator Lim Hui Ying, had agreed with the move. He said, replacing the iconic ferry service, which is prone to breakdowns, with catamarans is also a more practical move to protect the safety of Penangites and more beneficial to Penang's travel and transport industries. He added that many Penangites are confused and are wondering if there are 2 chief ministers for the state, with Choe Kon Yeow being the weekday chief minister, while Guan acts as the weekend chief minister. We said that the Penang chief minister recognized by the federal government is Yeow, and that he and Finance Minister Tunku Zafrul Tunku Abdul Aziz would discuss any decision about the ferry service with the real chief minister. The Penang car-carrying ferry service is expected to cease operations on December 31st and would be replaced by smaller transport meant only for pedestrians and motorcycles. Earlier, Guan had said the plans to cancel the iconic 126-year-old service at the end of the year proved that the Perikatan National Government was in open confrontation with the people of Penang, with Wee leading the charge. Meanwhile, Hui Ying has rubbished Wee's statement that she had agreed with the move. In a statement, she said that she didn't oppose the catamaran service, but had mentioned that the federal government has to continue the iconic ferry services, despite infrequently, as an addition to the new service. She told MCA to stop spinning the statements of DAP leaders and accused MCA of allegedly lying in the past by saying ex-Transport Minister Anthony Loke had also decided to terminate the ferry operations. Loke had denied the allegations yesterday.
Kuala Langat PKR youth have joined netizens in their call for the Public Works Department to be fair to all Malaysians in their response to accidents that happen due to potholes.
Kuala Langat PKR Youth Chief Muhammad Shahreza Muhammad Tuniman said the Kuala Langat Public Works Department should be fair and apologize to all road users who have been involved in accidents due to potholes. In a statement today, he said it was not fair for the District Works Department to only issue an apology when accident victims are ministers. He said this in response to the apology by the department yesterday to Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Khairi Jamaluddin when he was injured after hitting a pothole in Banting, Selangor. Yesterday, Kyrie fell from his bicycle after hitting a pothole and sustained injuries to his face. Following the incident, the District Works Department issued an apology on Twitter. Muhammad Shah said there were fatal incidents due to the recklessness by the department and added that there were many potholes under the department's watch. He also advised the department to stop being biased in dealing with road users. He said, the public pay road tax every year, and the Public Works Department keeps silent when they are involved in accidents.
And now it's time to take a look at the country's latest COVID-19 situation.
Malaysia recorded 1,594 new cases of COVID-19 today, with 3 of the cases imported. From the local cases, Selangor reported the highest number of new infections with 697 cases. This was followed by Kuala Lumpur with 194, Johor with 191 cases, Negeri Sembilan with 160 cases, and Sabah with 157. There were 116 patients in the intensive care unit, with 53 requiring ventilator support. 3 new deaths were also recorded today, bringing the death toll in the country from COVID-19 to 455. 2 of the deaths were recorded in Selangor, and 1 was recorded in Sabah.
Do you love traveling? Well, the government is considering reopening the country's borders with green zone nations to help boost the tourism sector.
Tourism, Arts and Culture Minister Nancy Shukri said that the government is looking to opening the country's borders to help boost the tourism industry. In a press conference yesterday evening, she said that she had received many requests from local tourism industry players to consider the matter in order to keep their businesses afloat. And the government is working at negotiating with countries which have been identified as green zones, such as Singapore, Brunei, Korea, Japan, Taiwan, and New Zealand. However, she added that the matter has to be discussed further with other ministries as well, such as the Health Ministry. On a question about the green travel bubble and local tourism, Nancy said that it was a good initiative as it has helped to boost the tourism sector. Meanwhile, she also urged visitors from green zones traveling to other places for holidays to fully practice the standard operating procedure, especially in maintaining physical distancing during their travels. She said they did not want the numbers of COVID-19 cases increasing after the government had approved the green travel bubble, as it will affect the economy, especially the tourism sector.
Coming up next, Europe has launched their vaccination campaign against COVID-19. All that and more after this. Welcome back. Countries across Europe on Sunday launched a massive cross-border vaccination campaign in a coordinated attempt to hopefully put an end to the coronavirus pandemic.
Europe launched a mass COVID-19 vaccination drive on Sunday, with pensioners and medics lining up to get the first shot to see off a pandemic that has crippled economies and claimed more than 1.7 million lives worldwide. This came after European governments were criticized at the start of the coronavirus pandemic for failing to work together. The hope now is that a coordinated response will ensure equal distribution of vaccines across the region, home to 450 million people. The EU has secured contracts for more than 2 billion vaccine doses and has set a goal for all adults to be inoculated during 2021. A 101-year-old Gertrude Haas was the first to get vaccinated in Germany.
It is very dangerous. We hear and read about it, and there are so many people dying in other homes. It is horrible, and that is why it is so good that we can be vaccinated against it. It is a big advantage for all of us who live here.
In Rome, Nurse Claudia Alivernini was amongst 3 healthcare staff to receive Italy's first shots of a vaccine developed by Pfizer and BioNTech. She urged other Italians to follow her example, saying medicine and science are the only means we have. With surveys pointing to high levels of hesitancy towards the vaccine in countries from France to Poland, leaders of the 27-country European Union are promoting it as the best chance of getting back to something like normal life next year. While Europe has some of the best resourced healthcare in the world, the scale of the operation has seen some countries call retired medics back into service, while others have loosened rules on who is allowed to give vaccines. Outside the EU, Britain, Switzerland, and Serbia have already started vaccinating their citizens in recent weeks.
The United States has avoided another government shutdown after US President Donald Trump agreed to sign into law a pandemic aid and spending bill.
US President Donald Trump on Sunday signed into law a $2.3 trillion pandemic aid and spending package, restoring unemployment benefits to millions of Americans and averting a federal government shutdown in a crisis of his own making. Trump, who leaves office on January 20th after losing November's elections to President-elect Joe Biden, backed down from his earlier threat to block the bill, which was approved by Congress last week after he came under intense pressure from lawmakers on both sides. He had originally demanded that Congress change the bill to increase the size of stimulus checks for struggling Americans to $2,000 from $600 and also cut some other spending. It was not immediately clear why Trump changed his mind on the stimulus package. His resistance had threatened to inject further chaos into the final stretch of his presidency. After signing the bill behind closed doors at his beachside club, Trump sought to put the best face on his climb down, saying he was signing the bill with a strong message that makes clear to Congress that wasteful items need to be removed. In a statement, Trump insisted that much more money is coming, though he provided nothing to back his promise. And with less than a month left in office, Trump is expected to gain little or no traction with lawmakers to make changes. Many economists agreed that the financial aid in the bill should be higher to get the economy moving again, but says that immediate support for Americans hit by coronavirus lockdowns is still urgently needed. The package includes $1.4 trillion in spending to fund government agencies. If Trump had not signed the legislation, then a partial government shutdown would have begun on Tuesday. That would have put millions of government workers' incomes at risk.
That's all we have time for this evening. For more stories, head on over to KiniTV.com. Don't forget, we also post the latest headlines to Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, so follow us there to get the latest news updates. Remember, if you're going out, wear your mask and practice social distancing. We still haven't won yet. I'm Daniel Anthony. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay safe, Malaysia.